What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Game of Thrones video. So we've had the last season sadly come to an end, but there's no upside. It is a massive wait until the next season of Game of Thrones. So if you're new to the channel, a like and a subscribe is super appreciated here as we move into the speculation for the upcoming Season 8. I know it's a long away, but we have had a really cool bit of information actually released here, and we have had what I think is really ace, and this is the original 1993 brief or outline that George R.R. Martin wrote all about Game of Thrones, and this gives us a very big insight as to who will actually survive the Game of Thrones, especially the last season as we move into this. And we are going into the final season without the penultimate book, without the final book. So it is a big long shot, and it is absolutely anyone's guess now as to where we are actually going with Game of Thrones, considering the fact that, well, we haven't got any information. We had the books for ages. We knew everything that was happening, even some bits which didn't actually make it into the show. And we also had new parts of the show which were never actually in the books. But the creative brief is usually a good indicator of where the show will actually end, albeit D&D do know all about where this show will be going in the finale, because they have actually been told by George R.R. Martin just where the show will end up, hopefully with Jon Snow on the Iron Throne. That's who I want to be on the Iron Throne. Let me know who you want in the comments below to be on the Iron Throne once the Night King and his army has been destroyed. So the creative outline gives us an indicator that there will be 5 central characters who will survive, and the whole of the show is all about 5 central main characters. What I find really telling here in the show is the fact that we actually had an interesting outline at the start where George R.R. Martin says that he doesn't want anyone to be safe. He says that the cast will not always remain the same, old characters will die and new ones will be introduced. Some of the fatalities will include sympathetic viewpoint characters. I want the reader to feel that no one is ever completely safe, not even the characters who seem to be the heroes. The suspense always ratchets up a notch when you know any character can die at any time. Now this does complete and utterly makes sense, considering the fact that good old George R.R. Martin seemingly wants to kill off anyone at any time, albeit the deaths have slowed down somewhat as we get near the end, possibly because all the main characters have pretty much been murdered and killed. I mean, we had the sack of Winterfell, which gave us, or killed, a hell of a lot of major characters, and we even had possibly the biggest shock was the death of Robb Stark, in my opinion, and that gave us a big insight as to the fact that anyone can die in this show. So the fact that anyone can die really does put you on the seat there, on the edge of your seat even. However, Jon Snow, he didn't write the book, he's a character in the book. George R.R. Martin did say this: 5 central characters will make it through all 3 volumes, however, growing from children to adults and changing the world and themselves in the process. In a sense, my trilogy is almost a generational saga, telling the life stories of these 5 characters, 3 men and 2 women. The 5 key players are Tyrion Lannister, Daenerys Targaryen, and 3 of the children of Winterfell, Arya, Bran, and bastard Jon Snow. So the bastard Jon Snow survives, which is pretty big there, and the rest of these characters do survive. Now, you will be forgiven for realising, hold on a minute, there's a couple of people who are not here. Most notably, Sansa Stark is not there whatsoever. That is crazy, because she is the Lady of Winterfell, and she's not there in these 5 central key players, because in the books and the TV show, she has been a huge player. So does this indicate the fact that Sansa Stark will perish in the upcoming war, considering that Winterfell is so incredibly close to the wall. Really, it's a bit of a trek, but it is pretty far away. It is kind of close. That it is the closest place, really, major part to the wall. And could Sansa die? Could the Night King destroy Winterfell pretty much in the first episode? That's quite big there. Let me know what you think in the comments if you think that will happen. Now, the reason that I think Arya is the one who is the central character is the fact that George R. Martin originally meant for an incestuous relationship between characters who are not Cersei and Jaime, and that he originally intended for Jon Snow and Arya Stark to actually fall in love, it's just crazy, isn't it, when you think about it? I think that is a really, really big and mad thing there to actually be mentioned. And possibly it does hint towards the fact that Jon Snow isn't actually a Stark, so this incestuous relationship will be okay. However, on the show, we have Jon Snow and Daenerys who are doing the nasty, and their incestuous relationship is a bit weird, especially considering the fact that this war, or part of it, was kind of fought over the fact that the children, we had Joffrey, etc., they're not the kids of Jaime and Cersei, and that's partly why the Baratheons joined in this fight. So it just goes to show that incestuous relationships, especially when children are born out of it, is not really that good and not that accepted in Westeros. So this is all speculation based all on this brief, which was written over 20 years ago. So I wouldn't really take it as gospel that Sansa possibly will actually die. It is just saying that these are the focal characters. So all of these characters are still alive. Maybe he wrote Sansa in later in the show, later in the books, because this was a trilogy and it's now spanning a lot more, almost over double what it will actually be by the end of the actual trilogy or the saga. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that this actually holds much weight? Do you think that this will actually happen? Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Winter is coming.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.